So let's get grounded, right? It's been a morning already and it's barely 9 a.m. So, hello, welcome to your gentle flow and deep stretch practice. So you're gonna grab, if you're at home, you're obviously at home or somewhere. If you don't have a bolster, if you have a bolster, grab one. If you don't, grab a pillow. I'm using this one, it's rather, it's not super firm, but the firmer the pillow, the better. So feel free to just use a pillow instead. I am gonna use a strap today. If you don't have a strap, you can use a towel or a t-shirt, anything really that you can just loop over your foot at some point. And then like always, you might like to have a couple of blocks right here. If you're ever looking for the ground to be closer to you, that's how you do it, right? You block up. So there you go. If you would like to tune in now to your playlist, it's Go Deep Ganesha on Spotify. It's under Lara Beth Lopez, that's the account. And I am most of the time open without music, but let's go ahead and cue up the music today, just so that we're kind of all on the same, kind of wavelength. So when you're ready, we'll take a moment here to ground and get ready for our practice. I'm going to have you go ahead and take your bolster or your pillow, and you're going to bring it right here, lengthwise on your mat. And then you could straddle it, right? Ideally, your knees are going to come up to kind of the top, right? And then the tops of your feet go down, and then you're just going to sit back down on it. If this is too much, you can always bring a block and slide it underneath your bottom so that the flexion in your knees and probably even your hips is less, right? A little bit less sensation in the hinges of your joints. And once you get there, let's roll your shoulders back and down for a moment. And you can leave your hands on your thighs, on your knees, but you can also take one hand to your low belly and one hand to your heart if that feels good to you. And you roll your shoulders back and down. Lift your chest. Good, y'all. And then let your eyebrows relax and soften. Wiggle your jaw from side to side. Let it release so that you're not holding on to any tension there. And as you breathe in, you know that you're breathing in. And as you breathe out, you know you're breathing out. Take a deep inhale through your nose. You'll feel your belly kind of inflate and press gently into that bottom palm. And eventually the breath travels all the way up and you feel your heart space lift up into your top palm. And then you exhale, let it travel back down the same way it came up. Inhale, find length in your spine, roll your shoulders back and down, lift your chest. And then exhale, let it all go. So you're at home, if you would like to exhale through your mouth, feel free to do so. You might feel a deeper exhalation depending on what your pranayama practice is, your breath work. One more time, just like that. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, make sure you roll your shoulders back and down. And then inhale, reach your arms out and up. Maybe you look up. And on the exhale, fold over your thighs. Walk your hands forward. Let your hips reach back towards your heels. So now you're in a supported child's pose with your belly on top of your support, right? Either your bolster or your pillow. Let your forehead reach down to the ground, maybe. And then take this moment here to set an intention for your practice. Let your shoulders roll back and down from your ears. Keep your deep and steady breathing. that pause to ask yourself what's important for you today. And give yourself a few moments of silence to really settle in on something. What did you show up for? Take 2 more breaths right here. Exhale completely. Now on your next inhale, begin to walk your hands back. So you come right back to where we started, stacking your shoulders over your hips, roll them back and down, and bring your hands to the tops of your thighs. You might hug your knees in a little bit more. And then from here, it's a very gentle cat and cow. So you'll notice the hands maybe sliding up the thighs, and that's fine. On your inhale, just roll your shoulders back, let your heart press forward, slide your elbows back. And then exhale, arch your upper back, tuck your tail, tuck your chin. Your complete rounding of your shoulders forward. Inhale, roll your shoulders back, lift your chin. Maybe the head goes all the way back if it doesn't bother your neck. And then you exhale to reverse. Navel in and up towards your spine. Inhale, shoulders back, press your heart forward. Belly kind of drapes. There's a sway to your low back. And then you exhale, reverse it. Dome out your upper back, tuck your chin, tuck your tail, navel to your spine. Let's take 2 more just like that. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Find your neutral spine, your shoulders back and down. And then exhale, walk yourself forward. You're now in your box pose. You can keep your bolster there for a moment or your pillow, right? It's all good. Stack your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists. And then bring your knees underneath your hips. As you inhale, let a soft belly drop down towards the ground. Lift your chin, lift your tail. And then exhale, reverse the movement. Dome out your upper back. Let your chin tuck in towards your chest. And then inhale, round it back through. Find your cow pose. Your heart presses forward. And then exhale, cat pose. Lift your heart up towards the ceiling. One more time. Inhale, take a sway to your low back. And exhale to reverse. Now inhale, come back into your neutral spine. Remove your bolster from between the legs and just slide it over to the right for now. You'll use it again later, so don't get rid of it completely. And then curl up your toes. Lift your hips up and back and find your first downward facing dog. Let's just take a few breaths here. Move your feet to where you feel like you're not charging into your joints. Wrists the same. Spread your fingers out wide. And then really press down into the webbing between your thumb and your forefinger and let your head hang down. Breathe. I'm kind of swaying side to side here, getting a little stretch around my armpits. And also kind of moving the hips and finding a lateral side stretch, yeah? And then the next time you're ready, come right back into center. Let your heels start to feel heavy. And then inhale, bend your knees to look forward. And then exhale as many steps as you need to take your feet to the top of your mat. Leave them about hip width distance apart today. And then on your inhale, lengthen your spine. Take the crown of your head forward, your tailbone back. Your belly pulls in and up, so you're really flattening out your back. And then exhale, let your chest drape down towards your thighs and drop your head down completely. Inhale, bring your fingertips to your shins, lengthen your spine, halfway lift. And then exhale, fold yourself down, root down into the four corners of both feet. Last time, inhale, lengthen your spine. And then exhale, fold yourself down. If you'd like, grab opposite elbows this round. Find a ragdoll here. You can have a deep or a gentle bend to your knees. It's kind of the first big opening of the backside body, so know that going into this, right? A bend is just fine. And then you maybe sway your torso side to side. Feel if your weight begins to shift between your feet. It's okay if the answer is yes, but keep trying to press down into both feet equally. Good, y'all. Let your head just hang. And then gently come back into center. I'm going to have you inhale for a moment to give yourself a reset. Then we're going to hold this forward fold. I'm going to bring my feet just a little bit closer together, but not all the way to touch just yet. And on the exhale, really take your chest towards your thighs and drop your head down. Now your hands could be on blocks here. That's what feels more supportive to you, right? It's all good. It could also be on the highest level. Do what you need to do to make this accessible to you, right? If you feel like you have some opening already through the hamstrings, you might go a little bit deeper. Really drop your head down, tuck your chin. Some of you might start to take your hands towards the backs of your legs, like your calves, and slide your hands down towards your ankles and pull your chest in a little bit more. Notice as you do this, if your shoulders start to really hunch up towards your ears, and try to keep your neck long. Breathe here. And some of you might even take opposite elbows behind your legs and go a little bit deeper. Remember, you can have a deep bend in your knees. It's all good, y'all. Got about 3 more breaths here. You're allowing all the blood to rush towards your head, right? Nourishing everything in your body here. One more inhale. And then as you exhale, release your hands down to the ground. Now I'm going to ask you to be nice and careful. Slowly come up. As you inhale, roll all the way up, kind of like one vertebra at a time, until you get to the top. And then you roll your shoulders back and down. Good, y'all. Root down into the 4 corners of both feet. Inhale, reach your arms out and up. Gaze up. And then exhale, take your left arm down and reach your right arm up and over, getting a side bend in the right side. So you're not twisting here. It's all about opening through your right side body. Relax your right shoulder from your ear. And then you inhale, reach both arms back up to the sky. Get as long as you can. And then exhale, drop your right hand down and reach your left arm up and over. If you feel this in your low back, take the top of your pubic bone, draw it slightly upward. Keep stretching through your left side body. Breathe in and out. And then your inhale, take both arms up to the sky. And on the exhale, elbows back and down, lift your chest. Good, y'all. Now inhale, reach your arms up. On the exhale, take an open arm twist to the right. Your right fingertips reach back, your left fingertips reach forward. Maybe your gaze begins to follow your right thumb. And then inhale, swim your arms back forward and up. Exhale, open arm twist to the left. Your right fingertips reach forward, your left fingertips reach back. Breathing here. Good, y'all. Now on your inhale, take both arms up to the sky. And then exhale, fold yourself down. Hinge through your hips, drop the crown of your head down. Inhale, lengthen your spine halfway. And then exhale, bring your hands to the earth, step yourself back. You're in your high plank. It's just for a moment, so take your time getting there. And then we're gonna inhale, everybody bring your knees down to the ground. And then as you exhale, point your elbows back and just melt your chest down to the ground. So now your hands are here to the outside of your chest, right? Just below your shoulders. Roll your shoulders back. Inhale, lift your chest, but keep your pubic bone down on the ground and try to take all 10 toenails to the ground. And then exhale, melt yourself down. So notice you probably start lifting your pinky and your fourth toe as you lift. I want you to really work that internal rotation of your thigh bones so that you spread through your lumbar spine by keeping all 10 toenails down. Now on your inhale, roll your shoulders back, lift your chest. And exhale, melt yourself back down. Last one. Inhale, roll your shoulders back and lift. And exhale, chest to the ground. Now curl up your toes. Inhale, press your palms down, lift your heart. Exhale to a quick child's pose. It's just a reset. And then you inhale, lift back up onto all fours, curl up your toes. And then exhale, downward facing dog again. Lift your hips up and back. Maybe this time you pedal out your feet, walking your dog. So something like that is kind of so typical in a class, and I sometimes forget to do it these days. Inhale, roll onto the balls of your feet, and then as you exhale, let your right heel drop down and gaze under your left tricep, leaving your left heel lifted. Inhale, lift both heels. Exhale, let your left heel come down and gaze underneath your right tricep. Now inhale, lift both heels again. And exhale, just let both heels get heavy. Inhale, bend your knees to look forward. And then exhale, step your feet to the top of your mat. Now inhale, lengthen your spine. Let's warm up the quads, the lower body. Exhale, melt your chest to your thighs. Now my feet have a little bit of space between them. Inhale, bend your knees, sit your hips low, find your first chair pose, and reach your arms up overhead as you stay. Exhale right here. Press firmly into both feet. Now as you look, if your ankles are touching, your knees are touching, right? If one of them is separated, it's all separated. So drop your hips down low, draw your navel in and up towards your spine. Just try to make sure that you're not knocking your knees together and throwing off everything, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. We just want to make sure that we're practicing in a way that means that we can practice for the rest of our lives, right? Every day. Now, maybe you begin to pulse here. I really want you to fire up your quadriceps and your inner thighs. That's kind of what we're working here, so that when we get to that really stretchy part, the muscles are warmed, the fibers are ready to be manipulated, right? So just pulse it here. Take one more inhale. Your legs are going to keep moving, but as you exhale, bring your hands down to heart center, but lift your chest, right? So it's easy to kind of round forward. I want you to think of a proud heart, proud chest, open clavicles, hands at your heart. Good, y'all. Now go ahead and hold. I'm going to have you take all of your weight into your left foot. Lift your right heel. Cross it behind your left foot. It's like a curtsy, right? So you're crossing your right thigh behind your left thigh, and you bend a little bit deeper into both knees. Breathe here. Now you've got to draw your navel towards your spine to support your low back. Keep your heart lifted. Now, maybe you practice bringing your right heel a little bit higher, Maybe you bend a little bit deeper into your knees, right? Some of you might even choose to lift your right foot off of the ground altogether. So all of your weight is in your left leg. This is your gentle practice, so I mean, take that for what it's worth. And breathe. Very nicely done, y'all. Think of squeezing your inner thighs towards one another. Now as you inhale, slowly lift. And exhale right back into your chair pose. Sit your hips back and down. This is as hard as it gets, I promise. And then keep all of your weight down into the right foot now. And then slowly start to lift your left foot. Cross your leg behind the right. It's like a little curtsy lunge, or a curtsy, I guess it could be a lunge, but drop your hips down, bend your knees. It's a curtsy squat. There you go, that's what I was looking for. Your right toes and your right knee are pointing forward. And then you're down as low as you can go. Maybe you lift your left heel. Maybe your left foot all together. I'm going to keep both feet down today. This is my gentle day. So breathe here. Belly's in. Be supported. Lift your chest. Press your thumbs towards your sternum. And keep breathing. Feel the fire in your legs. And then inhale. Lift your left foot. And exhale, find your chair pose. Now inhale, straighten both legs. Reach your arms up overhead. Oh, doesn't that feel nice? And then exhale, fold yourself down. Let your head drape down. Inhale, lengthen your spine. And then exhale, bring your hands down to the ground. And then step your left foot back. Let your left knee soften down to the earth. And just hold this low lunge for a moment. Let the front of your left hip kind of release. And then exhale, bring both hands inside of your right foot. Heel toe your right foot over. Find your lizard lunge. Be here. And breathe. So some of you might have blocks at this point. You want to bring them underneath your hands. Underneath your forearms. Breathe here. You can come down, going a little bit deeper here. Awesome, y'all. If you need to lift your right toes and turn them out to like 1 or 2 o'clock and then roll to the outer edge of your right foot for a winged dragon. Be sure to draw your navel in and up, so that you're supported in your back. I know I say it so much, but it's important, y'all. Now, maybe you take your right hand to your right inner thigh and just gently open a little bit more. If you don't need the extra, you stay with both hands down on the ground, right? Breathe here. Slowly bring your right hand back down to the ground. Bring your right foot back to the earth. And then you might slide your blocks away for a moment. Heel toe your right foot to the center of your mat. And let's get out of your right hamstring a little bit. I'm going to bring my blocks back with me. So inhale here in your low lunge. And then exhale. Shift your hips back and straighten your right leg. Flex your toes back towards your shin. Lengthen your spine. It's easy to round here, right? Think of your heart moving towards your right big toe. And you can, again, have a bend in your right knee if you need that. It's all good, y'all. Watch your second and your third toe. You want them to ideally be pointing straight up and flexing back. Unless what you need to do is to take your toes down and stretch the top of your foot and your shin, in which case, go for it, yeah? Now on your next inhale, you're going to walk yourself back forward. Frame your front foot. And then as you exhale, box pose. step your right foot back so that you can come to hands and knees, but then extend your right leg, bend your knee, open your hip, and circle it out. After your winged dragon and your lizard and all of that, kind of get some circulation back into the hip. Go in both directions. And then place your right knee back down on the ground. Curl up your toes, inhale. Exhale, lift your hips up and back and find your downward facing dog. You might notice the right leg feels different from the left, and that's okay. We haven't gotten to the left yet, but we're there. Inhale, bend your knees to look forward. And then exhale, step your feet up to your hands. Inhale, lengthen your spine. And then exhale, bring your hands down. Step your right foot to the back of your mat and soften your right knee down. Be here for a moment. Low lunge on the left side. So now you probably feel the front side of your right hip opening. Be there for a second. Let that all happen. And then inhale. And on the exhale, maybe slide your blocks inside your left foot, heel toe your left foot over, and find your lizard lunge. So you start off with your left knee tracking your heel or your ankle, knee and toes point at 12 o'clock. We have a tendency to automatically splay open. It is fine to splay open if you are intentionally moving into a different pose, right? Or you're looking for that different sensation. What you don't want is for it to be just like kind of your default, your automatic. Your whole yoga practice is about doing everything on purpose with purpose, right? Even the stuff that you kind of melt into, it's because you're like hearing the feedback from your body and so you're going there, yeah? Intuition, it's okay. You can come down to your elbows, your forearms at this point, if you would like. Now maybe roll, take your left toes out to like 10 or 11 o'clock, roll to the outer edge of your left foot. Your left hand could come to your left thigh and kind of aid in that external rotation. So if you imagine your body, your thigh bone, your femur is up into your hip socket. And so we're gently massaging the muscles and the fascia all around that, right? To slowly kind of create a little bit of space between the head of the femur and the hip socket and allowing that bone to externally rotate ever so slightly. Some of you it's going to be a little bit more, right? Just creating space. Awesome, y'all. Now gently let your left hand come back down to the ground so that you can lift your left knee, turn your left toes back to 12 o'clock. Heel toe your left foot back to the center of your mat. If you want your blocks for half split, bring them with you. Take an inhale here. And then exhale, shift your hips back. Straighten your left leg. And flex your toes back towards your shin. Ardha Hanumanasana. Lift your chest. Pull your heart forward. Take your navel towards your left thigh bone. And then kind of just melt down. It's going to help pull your left hip back, your right hip forward. And wherever it is you go, you breathe, right? Keep the breath flowing through your body, your entire practice. Remember, you can take your toes forward if you need to. Completely exhale. On your inhale, walk yourself back forward. Slide your blocks up and over. And then as you exhale, palms down. Step your left foot back, your knee down. Give yourself a second. And then inhale, extend your left leg, bend your left knee, and then start to circle it around. So you get into your hip. Make sure you go in both directions. And then let your left knee come back down. Now from here, one round of cat-cow. Inhale, let your belly drop down, lift your chin, lift your tail. And then exhale, reverse the movement. Dome out your upper back, drop your head down. All right, y'all. From here, some full-on hip circles. They can be as big or as small as you want them to be. Right? I just want you to kind of move around and feel out the space you have created in your body so far. And then let's meet right back in our box pose. Now I'm going to bring my knees and my inner thighs together, my ankles to touch. And then take your hips back towards your heels. Automatically, if you know this doesn't work for you, you're either going to grab your bolster, your pillow, and place it between your hips and your heels. Or if you have a block, you can do the same thing. You can place it between kind of your calves and your bottom. Now that feels, since I have a cork block, like a lot of pressure point stuff on my calves, so I might not stay there that long, right? But if you have something softer, it's going to be less intense, and it's meant to take some of the pressure off of your knees, right? However, if this feels okay for you, you're just going to be here for a moment, roll your shoulders back. It's technically a supported hero's pose. And then maybe start to walk your hands back. I like for my fingertips to point towards my feet. Roll your shoulders back, puff up your chest. And then if it's okay with your cervical spine, if your neck is great, you can drop your head back. Make sure you're still breathing, yeah? And with your head back, ideally you would be back in a way that allows you to continue to speak and to swallow, so you're not completely shutting off your throat, right? All right, y'all, so from here, you can gently bring yourself back up. I take my feet out, and I actually am going to take a block in between my heels today. If you want to stay in heroes, your knees come together and your knees stay down. And then you start to walk yourself back. Get a really deep stretch on the quadriceps, on the tops, on the fronts of your legs, right? Now some of you are going to remove the block altogether and come all the way down, right? Hands might find the tops or the bottoms of your feet. Now if at any point your knees start to really lift up, it means you've gone too far and you need to come back, okay? So in that space, maybe you come down onto your elbows, your forearms. There should be no tension on the tops of your kneecaps, right? Or anywhere in your knees. Some of you will go all the way down onto your backs in a completely reclined position. I'm not gonna do that. Also, if you wanted a supported variation, you could take your pillow or your bolster and lie back on it, right? So find the things that feel appropriate in your body today, right? All we're trying to do is stretch out the tops of your legs in a supportive and appropriate manner. I like to remind people that there are no shortcuts in yoga, right? So forcing yourself through or into anything is just it's a recipe for disaster, for injury, honestly. So you're going to be there and breathe. And then some of you just might not like both legs at once, no matter which way we do it. So you could Jane Fonda your way through this and come down onto your left side and cup the left side of your head with your hand, elongate your left leg, and then grab your right ankle and stretch it this way, right? You could go on either side. You're going to be here for about 8 more breaths. So if you're doing one side at a time, do about 3 to 5 breaths on each side. It's all good. You can also do this kind of half heroes, sitting down on your bottom. But since I can't see you, we're just going to stick here. And if you have questions about that, you can always message me and I'll go over it. If you're doing one side then the other, slowly release. Press yourself up with control. And then just flip on over, down onto your right side. Let your right ear, your temple rest into the right palm. Bend your left knee and bring your heel in towards your glute. Good, y'all. Maybe 2 to 3 more breaths here. And then if you are in that fully reclined heroes, bring your forearms and your elbows down so that you can press back up and bring your shoulders over your hips. And then everybody comes to a seated position. So whatever shape you ended up making just now, it's perfect. Lift your hips maybe, whatever you need to do to get your bottom on the ground and bring your legs out in front of you. And you might need to shake them out a little bit, right? And then your left leg stays long. Cross your right foot over your left thigh. Now your left leg is active and your toes point up and back. Bring your right hand behind your right hip. Inhale, lift your left arm, lengthen your spine. And then exhale, twist to the right. You can hug your right knee in with your left elbow. You could also slide your left elbow to the outside of your right knee or thigh. So whatever it is you need. Breathe. Maybe take your gaze over your right shoulder. You could feel a stretch through the left side of your neck. And then inhale, turn your gaze forward. And then exhale, just drop your hands over to the left. We're going to just even out sides, but let's still do a little counter. And then inhale, come back through center. Take your right leg and extend it long. Draw your left foot in. And then cross it over your right thigh. Let your left sit bone root back down to the ground. Activate your right leg. Left hand behind your left hip. Inhale, reach your right arm up to the sky. Get long. And then exhale, twist over to the left. Hug it in. Eventually, if it's available, you start to turn your gaze towards your left shoulder. Relax both shoulders back and down. And remember that the more you lengthen your spine, the more the twisting becomes accessible, maybe even enjoyable, right? Good, y'all. And then you inhale, turn your gaze forward. And exhale, drop your hands over to the right. A little counter. And then inhale, come back through center, unravel, unwind. Take both legs out long in front of you. And as you exhale, we're going to fold over both legs. Try to find the hinge at your hips rather than at your waist, right? So you're not here, it's here. Reach your heart forward. Now some of you might take your hands to your feet. If you have your strap, and that would be better for you. Loop your strap around the balls of your feet. Relax your shoulders down though, and then pull your heart forward. So you might even take a block in between your calves and widen your stance with your legs a little bit. You could also bring your forehead down to your block, right? So just play around with all of those things and find the thing that when you get into it, it's like, ah, that's where it's at, right? Last breath here. And then slowly walk yourself up. And then I'm going to slide the blocks out of my way. Go ahead and bring your bolster or your pillow to the right side of your mat. And then cross your feet at the ankles, come through. You're coming down onto your belly, so take your time getting there. Make sure that as you soften down to the earth, that you do so with control. It's easy to kind of, let go of that. Now your bolster is right here to the right side of your mat. Draw it in towards you, and then lift your right knee like you would if you were going to sleep, Like your right knee, your thigh are in alignment with your hip. And then your forehead could just be down on the ground. Your hands might be still underneath your shoulders. So it's similar to a half frog pose, right? And so working into the groin area on the right side. Flex your right foot. And then maybe your arms kind of reach out to the side like a T. You could take your ear down. I'm going to keep my my forehead down. And then if you want to stay here, you're going to just stay. If you would like, bring your hands down, your forearms down. Kind of lift your chest. It's almost like a sphinx. It is a sphinx, You could go into like a cobra-ish kind of thing, but I'm going to stay with my forearms and elbows down on the ground today because my spine doesn't feel like it's going to round in that manner. So you do you, right? But pull your heart forward, lengthen your spine, and this is optional, y'all. You do not have to come into this space. It is going to increase what you're feeling more than likely on your right hip, your right groin. And also stretch the front side of your torso. And then from here, if you wanted to take this into a thread the needle twist, your right palm roots to the ground, you thread your left arm underneath the right arm, palm face up, and then you come back down. Bring your forehead down. Now from here, only if you want to, you could take your right arm and open yourself up into like a twist, right? So you take your right arm and then you roll onto your back, you open your right arm out and your palm is facing up. And now your chest is open towards the ceiling. Ideally, both shoulders would go flat here, but as you can see, that's not happening for me either. So if that's not happening for you, own it. Be there, right? It's showing up exactly how it's supposed to show up, y'all. Life, this, all of it. At some point, we teach ourselves to observe what is happening without reacting to it. And using our yoga to make us better people, right? So that we do community better. We do, they call it karma yoga, but it all depends on what you want to believe. So there you go. I'll take one more inhale. And on your exhale, just close yourself back over. Bring your right arm back up and over. And we're going to come out the same way we came in. Slide your right hand back so you can press your palm down. Unravel your left arm. Bring your chest back down to the ground. And then lengthen your right leg long behind you. Give yourself a moment here. Shake your hips kind of side to side. And then grab your bolster, your pillow, and slide it over to the left side. There you go. And then when you are ready, and if that's not yet, that's okay. Lift your left knee and bring it on top of your bolster, your support, whatever that is. And then kind of glance down. You do want your knee, your thigh, and your hip to be in the same line. And for your left foot to be flexed. And then your forehead is down. Your arms can be out like a T. I would prefer that typically because otherwise if your left hand comes down, it's going to catch your leg and your shoulder is going to be kind of lifted, right? So I mean, just be here for a moment before we start adding any of the other stuff on. Breathe into your left groin, your left inner thigh, your hip. If you need more sensation, you kind of scoot your support and your left knee to the left some, yeah? And then if you're like, I just need a little bit more, it's when you start to bring your arms underneath you, forearms and elbows down, pulling your chest forward, elongate your belly, your front side body, roll your shoulders back. You might notice, and you probably hear this every time you take a yoga class, so I apologize for being cliche, but that one side feels different from the other, right? This side feels really good, the other side did not. And so here we are, you know? It's observing, not judging, not labeling, it just is what it is. If you want to move in a little bit deeper, you could lift your elbows, you know, but be gentle, y'all, be gentle. And then if you like to thread the needle, you kind of slide your left hand forward so that you can thread your right arm underneath the left. It's a twist for your spine. And I walk my left arm all the way straight, so it's like my left arm comes to my right elbow crease, right palm is facing up. And then I take my forehead down to the ground. And breathe. And I just noticed I was tensing my whole body. So if that's you too, can you systematically move through from the crown of your head and see where you're bracing and where you can relax a little bit, release. And here we are. If you want to go that last little bit, you can stay where you are. It's all good. You're going to take your left hand. I'm scooting my hips over to the left just a little bit. And then open up your left arm out. And then bring your back to the ground. Your heart is opening towards the ceiling. And you're in a supine twist. And then I'm kind of having to inch my right shoulder over to the, I guess it feels like the right now, but so that I can just get both shoulders a little bit closer to flat. Don't force or push or pull, just be and breathe. And again, where are you tensing up? And where can you release? And then if you're in that twisted variation here, your last inhale. And then as you exhale, just close the door back down. Bring your left arm back over. Root your palm down. And let yourself kind of unravel. My bolster is sliding out from underneath me. And then let your chest come back down to the ground. You might have to roll through your shoulders a little bit. And then take your left leg long. So now you're back prone on your belly. Wiggle your hips from side to side. Bend your knees and then windshield wiper your feet from side to side. And then your feet come back down to the ground. Slide your hands outside of your chest. Inhale to lift. And then exhale to a child's pose. Let your hips come back towards your heels. Good, y'all. And just roll side to side on your head. And then walk your hands back. Lift your shoulders over your hips. And then find yourself back into a seated position. Extend your legs out in front of you. Actually, before we do that, I'm going to have you actually bend your knees, bring your feet to the ground. And I want you to hug your arms around your shins, arching your upper back a little bit. Let your shoulders soften down. And then tuck your chin in towards your chest and give yourself a last little bit of opening there. And let your forehead come down to your knees. And then inhale, lift your head, and exhale, release. Now, grab your strap before you come down, and let's roll down one vertebra at a time until you're flat on your back. Oh. And then once you're down, bring your feet down to the ground about hip width distance apart. Let your heels come in towards your sits bones, and your hands come down next to your hips to start. Roll your shoulders back. Let's just take one bridge pose and just kind of bridge your spine and open up the opposite way for a moment. So as you inhale, lift your hips. Stay for your exhale. So there's an internal rotation to your thigh bones here. Knees and feet are hip width distance apart, and I'm pointing at 12 o'clock. If the space is there and you want to start to work your arms underneath your shoulders, maybe bind up your hands, absolutely, it's there. But don't force it. Just breathe. And then keep pressing your feet down and away from you. So this becomes more about your inner thighs, your quads, your hamstrings, less about your glutes. 2 more breaths right here. And then release your hands. Roll your hips down one vertebra at a time. Good. Very, very nice. Stay here for a moment and then hug your knees in towards your chest. Good. Y'all now extend your left leg long. Grab your strap. Loop it around the ball mound of your right foot and then lift your right heel. Inhale right here. And then exhale, just draw your right leg in for a moment. Relax your shoulders back and down. And then inhale here. On the exhale, take your right leg out to the right. Your left hand is on your left hip so that it doesn't lift up. And turn your gaze to the left. And then inhale, bring your right leg back through center. Grab the strap in your left hand. Keep your right leg flexed. And as you exhale, cross it over your body towards the left. Get a little spinal twist. And then you inhale, bring your right leg back up. And then let's just exhale, release. Extend your right leg long, bring your left knee in. And then loop your strap around the ball mound of your left foot. Straighten your left leg. Inhale here. And on your exhale, bring your left leg in towards your chest. Relax your shoulders back and down. Breathe in. Know that you're breathing in. And then exhale, take your left leg out to the side body. Breathe out and know that you're breathing out. Bring your right hand to your right hip. Just be here. And then you inhale, your left leg comes back up. Switch the strap into your right hand and exhale, cross your left leg over to the right. Maybe you gaze to the left. Feel that nice little twist. Breathe for a moment. Flex through your left foot. Shoulders down from the ear. And then inhale, bring your left leg right back up. And exhale, release your strap. Find a happy baby. Peace fingers do your big toes, hands to the inner or outer arches of your feet. It's whatever you need. If you want to rock side to side, you can. If full straddle here is available, be my guest, right? Release and hug your knees in towards your chest. Round your forehead up to your knees. And then let your head and shoulders come back down to the earth. Bring the soles of your feet together. And then let your knees fall open for a Supta Baddha Konasana, your supine butterfly pose. Now I'm going to give you the option of taking maybe a wider diamond and lift, well, for starters, you bring your feet to the ground and lift your hips, and you could slide your bolster underneath kind of like your sit bones. And then, but I would suggest taking maybe a wide diamond instead of like the actual butterfly legs. Feel something out. What would be the best in your body this, well, whenever you're taking this, right? This morning, but whenever you're taking this. And make that be the most appropriate thing for you to feel supported, to feel safe. You can take Shavasana here, or you can take a traditional Shavasana, right? Extend your legs long. Let your whole spine, whole body rest heavily on the earth, relaxing, releasing. So I want you to choose, to decide, what do you need today? And go there. Close down your eyes. Relax your brows and your jaw. Let everything go. Let your shoulders feel heavy and soften down away from your ears. And rest. If what you need is to be here a little bit longer, you're going to stay right where you are and tune me out. In fact, I hope you can, right? I hope you can rest in this space that you have created, this space that heals and restores and guides us into equanimity, right? If you are ready, you'll begin to deepen your breath, to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And on your inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Find your full body stretch. And as you exhale, hug your knees in towards your chest. You can roll to the right or rock up to your comfortable, easy sit, just right where you are. And then once we all meet there, sit up nice and tall with your shoulders back and down. Then maybe bring your hands to heart center and Anjali Mudra, or let your hands rest in your lap or on your knees. And as we sit here in this final moment together, my mantra, my personal dedication to you is that may I continually cultivate the ground of peace for myself and others and persist mindful and dedicated to this work, independent of the results. So, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. May we all be free of suffering, and may my work, may my life's energy be spent in that endeavor. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for being here. Namaste.